Dietary intake of what are considered common food compounds may actually be hindering the absorption of thiamine and contributing to insufficient thiamine status. These are called anti-thiamine factors. Different foods contain anti-thiamine factors that can react with thiamine to break it down to form an inactive product or inhibit its absorption in the gut. Some compounds found in tea or coffee may inhibit thiamine absorption. For instance, caffeic acid, chlorogenic acid, and tannic acid in coffee and tea can oxidize thiamine in the gut, and that would render it less likely to be absorbed. Some of these compounds are included in energy drinks that have added sugars, which, as we just went over, further increase somebody's thiamine need. This does not mean I'm advising you not to use things like coffee, tea, or energy drinks in moderation, but consuming a lot of them and frequently may contribute to less thiamine uptake through food and less thiamine activity in the body. Nicotine in tobacco products can also reduce thiamine activity because it antagonizes thiamine transporters. There's one particular cell study that suggests nicotine inhibition of thiamine transporter activity of pancreatic cells by as much as 40%. Now consider that nicotine use through vaping or tobacco products is often co-administered with recreational alcohol use, and thiamine activity is like to be opposed even further. Another anti-thiamine factor that is not given much attention but is relevant is an enzyme present in some protein sources in their raw state. This enzyme is called thiaminase, and this breaks down thiamine, which would make it unusable in the body. This enzyme is found in freshwater fish and shellfish, so high intakes of raw fish could limit thiamine availability. However, thiaminase is what's known as a heat-libel enzyme, meaning that it is inactivated or destroyed by cooking. In this way, cooking animal-based protein sources like fish help to preserve thiamine in one sense, but in another way, high temperatures also destroy thiamine. So I think the main takeaway here is that if you consume raw fish, do so in moderation. Raw protein sources being causal to thiamine depletion is more of an issue in some countries in Africa, like places in Nigeria, where African silkworms that contain thiaminase are considered a high protein food. To conclude on this point here, remember I had said that although people report adequate thiamine intakes through diet, there is research showing that at times they can still present with thiamine deficiency. It's thought that many people in developed countries are not necessarily suffering from a lack of thiamine intake. Rather, many of us may be overexposing ourselves to anti-thiamine factors.